I'd like to call to order the Torch Lake Township regular board meeting of December 20th, 2022 at 7 PM. If you would join me in saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's great to see so many people here. The room will stay warm. Keep the body heat going. All right, board reviewing the housekeeping items. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone. And to be honest, the last couple meetings I've been too far away, so we need to do that. We want to make sure that we're heard clearly for the YouTube streaming, and I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to their microphone. There will be two opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comments sections. I would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. Again, the documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. To be clear, motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. Therefore, the final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. Board, we have 3 sets of minutes to approve. Are there any changes to the minutes to the special board meeting of November 28th, 2022? This is where we discussed a resolution for a PAR grant for purchasing fire equipment for roughly $2,990. Any changes or corrections?
No.
All right, hearing none, I will make the motion to approve the November 28th, 2022 special board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason. It is moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 28th special board meeting. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Second set of minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes to the special board meeting of December 16th, 2022? We discussed the resolution for the township to submit an application for a DNR grant related to the day park. Any changes to that? Hearing
None.
none. I'm sorry?
None.
All right, I will make the motion to approve the December 16th, 2022 special board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jason. It is moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the November 28th special board meeting. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the final one, are there any changes to the minutes to the regular board meeting of November 15th, 2022? I have none. Hearing none, I will make the motion to approve the November 15th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Aye.
Jason,
Jason?
I'll second.
Got it.
might as well get a trifecta.
Here.
It is
Turkey.
moved and seconded to approve the minutes of November 15th, 2022 regular board meeting. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is correspondence and announcements. Kathy?
I have none.
Okay.
I have none, I'm sorry.
All right, very good. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Anyone have any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented. Is there a second?
I can second that.
Thank you, Kathy. It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. Any further discussion regarding the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will now move to citizen comment. Please respect the 4-minute limit. 4-minute limit. Also, board, as a reminder, this is not citizen debate. Do we have any, I think?
We have
Denise?
one. Mhm.
Come on up, Denise.
Hi, my name is Denise Walker. I live at 5951 M88 Central Lake. I'm here on behalf of the Torch to Bay Trail Group. We're working along with the Nequema Trail in hopes to have a trail that goes through Torch Lake Township. And at this particular time, we're ready for citizen comment or citizen input. So we have an online survey that we would like everyone to participate in. It will be pushed out through our township.
Constant.
Yes, constant
comment.
contact, and but we know that you all have friends, neighbors, family members, maybe that don't live in the township. We would like to get as a broad-based comment on this next phase, and it's basically asking, you know, what do you think of the idea? What would you use it for? Where would you like to see it be? And so we're going to have this up and available probably safely through the middle of January. Then it will be compiled and we'll start having meetings where citizens can come in and see where the proposed, based on the survey, where the proposed trail would be. So I just appreciate the time to be able to present this, and I have some flyers in the back, but you know, just spread the word is what I'm here to tell you to do.
All right, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
A couple things from the county update. Leslie Myers is retiring as Emergency Services Director, and she will be hired part-time as the new dam operator for Antrim County. So we're looking for a new emergency services person. The job is posted on our website. The Road Commission was at a meeting today, and they are hopeful to get permanent electricity in their new Road Commission garage in Central Lake this week. So we're hopeful on that. The prosecutor of Antrim County, Jim Rossiter, released his report for 2021. You will be happy to know that Torch Lake Township has the least amount of felonies and misdemeanors. There were 2 felonies. One was a criminal sexual complaint and one was a non-sexual assault. And there were 3 misdemeanors, including at least 1 assault for 2021 in Torch Lake Township, for a grand total of 5. At our last county commissioner meeting, we approved giving the employees at Antrim County a 4% raise for 2023. A lot of my townships have asked me to report on what the county is doing, so as far as a pay raise for the next year. So now you know.
Yeah, we know.
What's the commissioners going to do? Do you know?
Excuse
For
me?
the board? For
In
the
what?
county board, what increase are they given? Is that the 4%?
The county commissioners do not get a pay raise.
Oh, they don't?
Everyone gets a pay raise except for the county commissioners.
Ah, that's interesting.
They are not allowed to adjust the pay of commissioners in a year before the election, a certain amount of time before the election. I think it's 6 months. So they made, before we had a tiered system where they would pay us $50 for a meeting that was 2 hours or less and $100 for a meeting that took us 4 hours or more. And the only change that was made last year was all meetings will be $75, no matter how long it takes. So that's the only change to commissioner pay, and that will start next year. But that's a separate agreement for all the rest of the employees in Antrim County.
So what are you looking at for the rest of the employees? 4%, or is that across the board then?
That's 4% for all non-union. And unions have their own negotiations. The most recent union negotiation we had did a 3-year negotiation, and they get 4% the first year, which would be 2023, and then 3% in 2024 and 3% in 2025. So 4%, 3%, and 3% for the latest union negotiation that we did. So
Got it.
Does that include the police?
I believe that the police have 2 unions. One is, Mike, you could probably help me.
They do that too.
Yeah. I can't remember their names right now.
One has to do with the officers, the other one has to do with the
One has to,
employees, the jail correction, and road patrol.
So they get the same percentages that you just said on union people?
I believe they are at, it's either 3 or 4%. Their union contract was negotiated last year. So their negotiation is not up for renewal this year. But I believe that last year theirs may have been 4, 3, and 3 as well.
Were the number of felonies the lowest in Torch Lake Township as compared to the rest of the 15 townships in the county?
Yes. Is that,
So Milton had more felonies than we did?
yes.
Okay, and others did
Yeah.
as well.
I mean, I could tell you,
What was the most felonies in what township?
the most was in Mansalona.
Mansalona, okay.
And see if I can find it.
Poor Mansalona.
It's okay.
I don't have Mansalona. The last one that I have is Central Lake Township. There were 20 and 23 misdemeanors in Central Lake. I didn't copy Mansalona's to my phone because it's not my district, but I could find it out for you. It's in the report.
It's not the end of the world.
I think it was over 70.
Oh,
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments? All right, that closes citizen comment. We'll do consent agenda, board. Anyone wish to pull any reports? If not, I have 2, the fire and the ambulance. So the remaining reports will be approved by consent. Mike, I'd just like you to give the board an update on the ambulance,
Well, now,
please.
Today I found out that the state of Michigan will be out tomorrow, or they're going to do a phone Zoom meeting with us on the new ambulance. Ted's going to be there, Sharon's going to be there, Shauna and I make sure that we go through it. So we should be ready to rock and roll with a new rig tomorrow afternoon. This is going to happen at 1 o'clock. Figure about a half an hour. Ted's been going through the checklist. Ready to roll. License plate was a disaster. Title was a disaster, but we got all straightened out after about 6 hours on the phone with the state of Michigan. Unbelievable.
And tell the board how you're doing on revenue versus your budget.
Oh, that's even better yet, Bob.
Ah, that's why I thought I'd bring it up.
You know, the revenue is actually, we're at $65,722 as of December the 1st. However, we've had 16 more runs. Our budget was for 70,000. So we should easily surpass that by April 1st. We're currently at 10 runs above what we were last year at December 1st. But as of today, we're at 16 runs, and last year we were only at 13. So we're up another 3 runs. So we're getting a little bit more business from Elk Rapids and Milton Township due to their fact that they're gone. So we're doing that LS call, the closest unit. So we've been doing a little bit of that. So that's helped us out a little bit to keep our revenue going. But we're looking really good, very favorable.
is that for in our fiscal year?
Yes,
It's okay.
so far. So we're into December, so we got 3 more months to go. So we should be able to get the 4,000 by then to meet budget, so we should be over.
Good. Any other questions for Mike? If not,
What's the new paramedic, see attached resume? Did you put a resume in our packet?
I thought I gave one to you. I didn't yet?
No.
I have a copy here if you would like to see it. I apologize for that.
That's all right.
The paramedic is Andrew Lott. He's a paramedic that currently is employed at TAA and wants to come out here to work for us as a per diem, part-time, because we're down 1 day a week. We have 3 paramedics that work 6 days, so that other day's overtime. Make sure that we remain ALS every day. So having him come on board, he will pick up that 1 day every other week or whatever. So that will help us out. And he has a baby coming on board in February, so he's excited about picking up some more time. One of the advantages of only working 48 hours a week, it's a lot easier to pick up time at other agencies. So he's chosen to come out here, and we're glad to have him on board. His references came back pretty good, so everybody I've talked to said he's really great. So he'll start as soon as we approve him tonight. I apologize. I thought I included that in the back.
it's not on the agenda, so what we'll do is I'll call a special meeting Tuesday, let's say Thursday or maybe Friday, and we'll pass them then.
Okay.
All right?
Can we backstep though and just add him tonight?
Well, if somebody wants to make a motion,
Well, Thursday or Friday, we're getting pretty close to the holiday and,
well, all we need are 3 people for the board.
well, I know I will be here
Ellen, are you around? this
Thursday,
week?
but not Friday.
I
We're
should be in
closed,
town
we're
for the
closed
weekend.
Friday.
All right, so we'll just meet on Thursday. 12 o'clock, okay? All right,
All
we'll do
right,
it
all right.
Thursday at 12. Give me the documents and we'll just hold a
Yeah, I
special meeting.
forgot it on my notes. Everybody, I don't know how it got missed.
Well, you didn't give me I did not find in my package the application form, so that's the thing that I was missing. That's fine, Mike.
Yeah,
Give me a copy tonight. We'll do a
All right.
special board meeting. We'll
Okay.
get it done on Thursday.
Yeah, all right.
Before the snow apocalypse.
Before the snow apocalypse.
before the snow. Ooh.
Jason, you're around, right? Thursday? All right. Good. Where's Kevin? I'd like Kevin to come up, and he's got a firefighter, so I'd like you to use this time to introduce him for us, so that then when we get to that, when we get to that on the agenda, then we can move
That's
forward
what
with
we
passage.
need. That's what we need.
Okay, this is Gavin Grace, and this young man has expressed an interest in joining Torch Lake Township Fire Department. He has been to several of our truck inspections. He showed up for our monthly training sessions. He likes to be a hands-on person, and I'm so thankful that we've had a young man from the township step forward and want to serve the area in that capacity. So that's why I'd like to ask the board to consider hiring him as a probationary firefighter for the time being. And we'll have him on board with us, and we will keep a watchful eye over him.
Good.
Make sure nothing happens.
Keep an eye on you.
Is that getting out? But, you know, I'm just thankful, and this makes me feel good, and this is what we need, and I'm sure that he'll be an asset if he decides to stay on permanently. I think it'll be a long-term investment for the township.
When will his
Excellent.
training begin?
Pardon?
When will his training begin?
He's already been with us on several training sessions.
Okay,
But he's been there as an observer and then also on truck inspections. He's been there learning where we keep different pieces of tools. So if he's approved tonight, the only thing I'd like to do is get a physical, you know, and then go from there, and then that will be, we can get him right on as soon as I get approval with the physical.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he's on the agenda. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, board.
Yay, Gavin.
I will make the motion to accept the fire and ambulance report. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Oops. Eh. Got it.
All set?
Mhm.
All right, Kathy. All right, well, special reports, Jason.
The planning commission hasn't met, didn't meet the month of December.
Okay. FOIA update, Kathy.
I have one ongoing FOIA request that has to do with the ballots from this past November's election. And I've had a request for a person to come in and photograph the ballots, all 900 and whatever ever number that we had. The problem is that there have been at least 3 recounts in Antrim County, and I don't even know about the rest of the state. So the ballot container cannot be opened until the state of Michigan says that the election is approved. So my person that has requested to photograph the ballots, I don't know when he's going to be able to do that, but I assume he is going to wait patiently until he can. So that's the only one that I have right now. Yay.
All right, great, Kath. Financial overview. As I've always indicated in the past, any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to the clerk's office or myself. And the results for this month, I've got to preface the comments because we did pay for the ambulance, so everything's out of whack by that $305,000. So for the current month of November, cash flow was negative to budget by $412,000. Total cash flow was negative $441,000 versus the budget of negative $29,000. Besides the ambulance purchase, timing of fire department capital investment items and insurance costs totaling $50,000, and timing related to the ARPA money being received. We received it earlier than budgeted, contributed to the cash flow miss for the month. On a year-to-date basis, we are unfavorable to the budget by $179,000. Taking into account the ambulance, we would be favorable to budget by $126,000. Yep, they got to go. Your house is fine? Okay. The general fund is currently favorable to budget by $67,000. This favorability is spread across a number of different cost centers. All other funds combined are unfavorable by a net of $24,000. The specific line item details can be found on the website under our board meeting information, and the file is called Fund by Detail Line. Our cash position remains in good shape for the key funds, as the treasurer's report indicates a balance in the general fund of $568,000. This is lower due to the loan to the ambulance and road funds in the month of December. The fire fund is at $438,000. And that includes the incremental $124,000 of ARPA funds, which we transferred in order to purchase a new fire truck tanker. The ambulance fund is at $229,000, which is lower due to the payment that we made out of that fund for the new ambulance. We will begin this month receiving the majority of our tax revenues for the next 3 months. And that's the finance report. All right, board, moving on to board action. We have no old business. We have 6 new business items. The first one is the resolution related to Mr. I know I'm going to mess it up. Loy. Jeez. Easement request. Board, as a reminder in the background, we met with the parties on October 14th during the special board meeting. We'll wait for the. You all set, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's
It's all
fine.
right.
It's your job, not ours.
That's right.
We indicated at that meeting that if they were able to get a survey and legal description to us for our attorney to draft the easement agreement, that we would move forward with this easement request. You have the easement agreement in your package that you received this weekend. Are there any issues or questions that you have?
The only question I had was with regard to the purpose, and the replacement was not in here. Is that just understood? The purpose is easement shall be used for sole purpose of installation and maintenance. Does that include replacement? I don't know.
Which item are you
I'm
on?
a number 5
Oh.
on the easement agreement.
It says purpose of installation and maintenance. So what's your question?
Is it include replacement?
When you say replacement, what do you mean?
You
Because
guys,
if
the lines break, they get
Well, if it
old.
breaks, that would be the maintenance.
Okay,
So what, that would be.
you feel comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And-
if
and
you feel comfortable with it, go ahead.
Well, if you'll remember, I think you were at the meeting on the 14th, and it was explained the degree of quality of that particular pipe. And
Oh, yeah.
If it breaks in one spot, they'll be able to fix that. So I don't think we have to say replacement, because that would assume you're going to replace the whole thing. And that would not be necessary.
I would be responsible for that, and home insurance covers it.
Well, what it would allow, we put replacement in any easements that we dealt with on our property. And that was recommended by the legal counsel that we were dealing with. And we don't know what the world looks like 50 years from now. And that very, very good pipe just might wear down. And want to make sure that you go in there and dig holes and trench and all that other sort of thing and keep it going as it is. But if you're comfortable with it, I'll leave it alone.
And we were comfortable when they
Okay.
made the presentation.
Okay.
So, any other questions? If not, then I will entertain a motion on this business item.
How long is that 10-foot easement?
How long? It's what, 700? It was between, if I remember.
250 across the back, and about 350.
Yeah, it was shorter than, I remember.
And we're granting this for $1?
Yes. Would you like to do it for nothing? I think we have to do at least $1 to make it a transaction. What are your thoughts?
Seems like it should be more money, shouldn't it? Are we granting this? Is it basically giving them the land?
No, we're
Just
only
for the
giving them
use.
the right.
The right to use it?
Just the right to use it. Yeah, we're not selling it to them.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion.
I shall make that motion. We have a motion to approve Resolution 2022-17, approving the easement for Mr. Loy as defined per the easement agreement through the Torch Lake Township Cemetery effective December 21st, 2022.
I will second it.
You said you would,
Yes.
sir? Thank you.
Any questions on the motion? If not, then the motion to approve Resolution 2022-17, approving the easement for Mr. Loy as defined per the easement agreement through the Torch Lake Township Cemetery effective December 21st, 2022 has been moved and seconded. Kathy, would you do a roll call vote, please?
I will indeed. My name happens to be first, so I say yes. Mr. Cook, you're next.
Yes.
Mr. Martell,
Yes.
Mr. Merchant.
Yes.
And our treasurer is absent this evening. A very rare occasion, by the way.
That's true.
That motion therefore passes 4-0.
All right, thank you, board. Next three items all relate to the Board of Review. Though our members have some time left on their terms, the state of Michigan is requiring us to reappoint or appoint new members as of this December. So all three current members have accepted
Good.
being reappointed, so we will go through the three motions. I will nominate Vernon Lalone to the Board of Review for a 2-year term. He has been on the board for a number of years and has recently been serving as the chairperson. Board, any discussion or comments regarding this nomination? Hearing none, is there a motion related to the nomination?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the nomination of Vernon Lalone as Board of Review member for a 2-year term beginning December 21st, 2022.
Is there a second?
I can second that.
Thank you, Kathy. The motion has been moved and seconded to approve the nomination of Vernon Lalone as Board of Review member for a 2-year term beginning December 21st, 2022. Any question on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, a roll call vote?
Yep, and I'm first on the list again. I say yes. Bob, Mr.
Yeah.
Cook, I'm
Yes.
sorry,
That's all
Alan,
right.
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and Sharon is still absent. And I'd like to make a comment, just so that it makes the minutes, because none of these people are here tonight. They do need to come into the clerk's office and take the oath of office within the next 10 days. So that makes it a little tricky here with Christmas, but they all need to come in, so we'll be contacting them to do that.
All right, next item, item number 3. Are you ready, Kath?
Yep.
I would like to make the nomination of Mary Merchant to the Board of Review for a 2-year term. She has indicated the interest to continue forward. Any discussions? If not, is there a motion related to this nomination?
I'd like to make a motion to approve nomination of Mary Merchant as Board of Review member for a 2-year term beginning December 21st, 2022.
Is there a second, please? I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion has been made and moved to accept the nomination of Mary Merchant to the Board of Review for a 2-year term. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, a roll call vote, please.
I'm first, so I say yes. Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Martell,
Yes.
Mr. Merchant,
Yes.
and Sharon is absent. That motion passes 4-0.
Moving to item number 4. I would like to bring forward the nomination of Jackie Peterson to the Board of Review. She has expressed the interest in continuing. Any discussion or comment, board? Hearing none, is there a motion related to this nomination?
I would make that motion to approve nomination of Jackie Peterson as Board of Review member for a 2-year term beginning December 21st, 2022.
All right, thank you, Kath. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Alan. The motion has been moved and seconded to approve the nomination of Jackie Peterson as Board of Review member for a 2-year term beginning December 21st, 2022. Any question on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, a roll call vote, please.
Yep. Myself first, yes. Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Martell,
Yes.
Mr. Merchant,
Yes.
And Sharon absent, passes 4-0.
All right, thank you.
This one's interesting.
All right, board, it's our responsibility to put our schedule together for next year. Any questions on the dates or the suggested revision of the timing of the meetings?
No.
Why
The
did you change the time?
Well, I was just thinking, instead of us getting out at 8 or 9 o'clock, we might get a little earlier start. That was the only reason behind it. The Antrim County uses 6:15 for their evening meetings, and I thought, no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that here. But it's just a suggestion. That's why I left it as either 6:15, 7 p.m.
Well,
whichever one.
it's the idea of getting it out to the folks,
I'm sorry?
getting the meeting time change out to the people.
Well, we would be posting this both, once we pass the meeting dates, then that will include the time, and we would do that during our constant contact as well.
Oh, okay, good enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, there will be
Could-
plenty of notification.
Can we,
Do we have to pick one time?
I was going to say, can we
Yeah.
have both
I mean,
times?
like 6:15 works this time of year, no
This,
problem.
perfect.
Summertime, that's,
Well, then when you start shifting it, I mean, the Antrim County shifts theirs every other month, right? One month it's 9 in the morning.
the month is 9 o'clock, the second meeting of the month is 6
Oh, so you have 2 meetings. Okay.
9?
9 o'clock at night?
No, in the morning.
Oh.
6:15 in the evening. I know it's tough for you, 6:15 or 7 o'clock in the summertime.
How about like when we go back to daylight savings, the meetings go to 7?
We can, board, it's our decision. I mean, I prefer it be consistent. If it's better to keep it at
Makes sense.
7, we'll keep it at 7. I just thought a little earlier start would be good so that we could get out earlier. It's up to you. You want 7 or 6:15, or you don't care?
I'm
Indifferent.
indifferent,
All right, Alan?
but I don't work.
Well,
I mean,
That's okay.
back in the day when the
So-
board all worked and they had a job that they had to
so
come
Since
to.
you're indifferent, we'll say you don't vote. I'm just kidding. Alan,
Try it.
what would you prefer? Do you have a preference?
Well,
or-
I do like 7 again.
Okay.
Also, our audience works too. And
Right.
if they want to come here, and sometimes we have a crowd like you and sometimes more. And I always look to 7 o'clock, whether we get
That's
out late
fine.
or not.
That's fine.
That's what happens on board
Jason?
meeting night.
I think he's
You
right.
prefer 7?
I mean, unfortunately, like tonight, I wish it was at 6,
Right.
but I'm gonna have to say, yeah, I think
Alright.
7.
Jason, the good
Personally,
news,
I don't want to be selfish, but
the good news is tomorrow is the first day of winter, so we start gaining daylight
yay,
again.
I know.
So,
Party at my house.
All right, so we'll leave it at 7. Now, how about the dates? One of the meetings was moved. Normally, the March meeting is later than the 7th. I believe it would have been the 21st. But during the week of March 6th is the MTA, and Sharon requested that we move it so that, well, not during the March 7th. The MTA is March 21st for their big 4-day meeting, and it's down here at the resort.
Yeah.
So she's thinking that the board and other participants in township government should make an effort to go to the MTA this year. So rather than having that conflict, I think I have my dates mixed up. No, I'm all right, because March 21st will be the regular staff meeting or regular board meeting. March 7th is going to be the annual meeting, and we're doing that because of the later MTA. Now the March 7th being the electors meeting of the electors and the budget, when we get to board or information only, we'll be talking about the budget schedule, which is very compressed in order to get to this point. And part of that is I'm going to have a extended conflict in February, so I'm not going to have as much time to get prepared for it. So I'd rather get it done. And I think based on the process we used last year, we ought to be able to meet the deadline. So we'll go through that.
So then don't we have our regular board meeting
Yeah, March.
the same
21st.
night, right? March 7th?
No,
No,
Tuesday, March 21st.
Don't we usually have it the same night as?
But
Okay.
I'm moving it up. I wanted to get it earlier this year so that we start doing it earlier, because if in fact we run into any difficulty, when we were doing it on the 28th or 29th of March, we run against that deadline.
I'm not worrying about the budget meeting. I'm worrying about our regular board. So
Well-
that's going to be the 21st.
Right.
All right. All right.
so that also, though, is the night of the MTA meeting, the beginning?
Now, I'm trying to remember, because we moved it, Sharon wanted me to move it to the 21st, because the MTA meeting was going to be on our regular meeting, so I'd have to go back and look at the dates, but the 21st was requested by Sharon. Seventh
Okay.
is, seventh, I don't have the calendar in front of me, is 7th a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
Tuesday, then you got the 14th is
the Yeah.
second Tuesday, and the 21st is the third Tuesday.
She wanted the 21st. Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, if we have to change it, we can always put it in the schedule. We can approve it as is, and if we have to make a change, we'll make the change, since we really don't start this until next year anyway.
Okay,
My question is November. For those that go away, is that too early or too late, the November? It will work. You can make that meeting.
Is that still Honey?
Yeah.
Well, it
This year,
starts-
this year, the meeting was on opening day. Next year, you have it just perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, good. All right, so we're going to keep them at 7.
Yeah.
We'll re-verify the March, but the electors and annual budget will be earlier. And if you remember, the annual budget is normally my report out, and the electors will be just doing the salaries for the elected officials. And we're going to have all that done for the budget. So if the budget's early, we might as well have the annual meeting of the electors. All right, so I will accept the motion on this particular business item.
I would move that we would accept the schedule for the regular board meetings, including the annual meeting for 2023 and partially 24. And the starting time of the regular meetings, monthly meeting will be at 7 o'clock. And the annual meeting and the meeting of electors will begin at 6 o'clock.
I'll second that motion. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, now you're going to ask me to repeat it. So we will, you'll have that down, right? Yeah, so the motion has been made to accept the schedule for the regular board meeting for 2023 and the January 2024 date, and the annual meeting and the budget hearing at March 7th, beginning at 6 PM, with the regular board meeting starting at 7 PM. Not exactly perfect, but I think I captured it all. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Kath, roll call vote,
Roll
please.
call, sure. Kathy says yes. Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Merchant?
Yes.
Okay.
Skip Dalen.
I went out of order. Mr. Merchant, yes, and Mr. Martell?
Yes.
Perfect. That motion carries 4-0.
All right. Last item on our business. as addressed earlier with Kevin, I think the Graves are in the process of taking over the township. I may be presumptuous about that, but I mean, we have got a family involvement here, which I think is great and hopefully sets the example for the rest of the community. As we all know, Andrew is our chairman of the planning commission, and Kristen is on the ZBA as a member, and now we have a firefighter. So seems to me that all three of them are in the business of firefighting. It's just different places they're taking place, right? So any discussion on this nomination? Hearing none, I'll take a motion, and I will make that motion to approve the hiring of Gavin Graves as firefighter probational at $15 per hour, effective 12/21/22. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Kath. I will make the motion, or I made a motion to approve the hiring of Gavin Graves as firefighter probational at $15 per hour, effective 12/21/22. Kathy, would you call a roll call, please?
I will. Kathy says yes. Mr. Cook,
Yes?
Mr. Martell,
Yes.
Mr. Merchant,
Absolutely.
and Sharon would say yes if she were here, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
So that makes that motion pass 4-0.
All right, board. thanks.
Welcome, Gavin.
Gavin, yes.
When does he get to start firefighter 1? Does that start at certain times, or is that an ongoing, that training?
Different classes are available different times of year. So normally, probationary firefighters are evaluated while they're on the department, and then they can also evaluate themselves to see if they want to stay on and challenge fire 1 or 2, and then we just go from there.
Okay. And he's aware of all of that, I'm sure. Perfect. Yes, he is.
All right, board. Moving on to board discussion. Virginia was going to be here to take the first item. She is under the weather, so I will take it. Eden Shores water quality application was submitted about 2 weeks ago to the state. There's a bunch of funds available to help with water quality. We had Casey Clement of the Environmental Health Coordinator of Northern Michigan. She was here last October speaking to the board regarding the quality of water issues in Eden Shores. So we got the information. I asked her to take the lead on that. She put together the application. We had to engage an engineering firm out of Charlevoix to help us write that, and it was recently approved. The next steps that we will be following is that a mailing is going to be sent out to all the residents in the Eden Shores area. We will be asking for feedback and explaining to them what's involved. As you can imagine, this project will have a lot of different steps to it, and it's not going to happen overnight, but at least we've got our foot in the door, and we will be holding informational meetings sometime in January to bring the citizens in that particular area, give them the opportunity to come and speak to us. So that's
I don't remember if it was Eden Shores 1 or 2 or both.
both.
Both, okay, thank
Both.
you.
Yeah, I went back. I thought it was this year we had talked about that. It was actually last year in October. So it's been a while, but I forget how many billion is out there. It's like 4 or 5 billion or some ridiculous number. Now, it's not a grant. And that's why we've got to get the citizens in here, because basically it's a financing on a 30-year loan. So they've got to decide if the water quality issue is enough that they want to, I guess we would go a special tax district on that thing. And at that point, that would go for 30 years and it would be on the property and it would just transition until they paid off the loan. But that's the type of stuff that we need to bring out and see if people are interested in having that. I mean, my understanding, based on that meeting, there's a lot of issues there for those people. So we need to think about that. So that's one.
How does that work if half the people want something and half the people don't? How do you proceed?
The township would probably have to, guess we'd have to have a vote, Ellen? You've been around.
I think the law requires a certain number of property owners.
A
To
percentage?
approve it, yeah,
Yeah.
percentage. And I think it's more than half. I don't remember that we did that. We were dealing with that road issue on Eden Shores too. Okay, there's a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of questions.
But the idea here is that we've started the process and we just wanted to bring it up to you guys so that, any input, you know the neighborhoods better than I do, Alan. I don't know if it will be well received or if they'll live with what's there. I don't know.
It just depends on how many of them have bad water.
Yep.
That's what, and whether they'll support some kind of community well.
Well, based on what she was saying, it was related to the fact that it was new construction that was having the great difficulty getting approval from the health department. So,
I think also if we go to a community well, I think we're responsible for that community well.
yeah.
In terms of taking care of it as a township.
Yep. Item number 2, you received this. It's from Sarah. Basically, it's related to the Peterson property. I've had an awful lot of people ask me what's going on with it. If you look at it, as you face it to the right-hand side, it looks like the roofing is starting to collapse and folding the wall in. Huh?
You're talking the old restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was the county was the only one that could condemn a building or require it to be torn down. That's not, in fact, the case. The ordinances for a township can have a police ordinance to do that. So Sarah took a pass at this. And this not only, in talking with Sharon indicated that this also has an effect if somebody's home catches fire and it just sits there because the insurance isn't fixing it up or recovering it. So there's a number of things, but it's the board's responsibility since it will be in the police power. And there's a couple of things I want to point out because you basically end up having to create a little organization. On page 3, it talks about the appointment of a hearing officer. And there's certain restrictions. And then on page 4, there's a hearing board and that there's also an enforcement officer. And the enforcement officer is somebody that's got a lot of knowledge on buildings and stuff. So it's almost like you end up with a township engineer. So I wanted to get this in front of you, give it some time. It's a lot of reading, but the idea was that for a building like the Petersons, I mean, one of the options in here is that if it's unoccupied for 180 days, you can go in and condemn it. That building, how long has that building been vacant?
Oh, vacant?
Years. So the idea here is, a framework to look at this, but it's not as simple as it coming before the board and we make a decision. There's steps that we'll have to go through. So anyway.
Has the owner been approached on that building?
Yes, we have called him. He actually sent us some commentary. He said it's in a trust and he's waiting for it to come out of the trust and he's thinking he's going to create a new restaurant or he's got big plans for it. But the reality, if it's a trust, we can hold the trust responsible for what's going on in there.
I think he go up and the guy got killed on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I think you're right. I heard that story.
Mhm.
He got, the motorcycle was a deer accident over on the
Yep.
Torch Lake Drive, right?
Right.
So anyway, the idea here is give it some thought.
Did he give us a timeline?
No, because he said it was having to come out of probate. So, but again, the question is, that is an example of why we would want to do something. The question is, what we're doing, is it appropriate for the township as you look at it? So that's why I'm getting it out in front of us so that we have time to look through it. Sarah will come to the January meeting and give a further explanation on it, detailing more of the process and what's involved in it. And then hopefully sometime in February, we make a decision on it.
Would you mention to her, would this include any of the older mobile homes
All right.
that are in the township? It talks, it doesn't say that under the definition.
Well,
That includes
yeah,
that.
I think it doesn't say that specifically, but is a mobile home considered a structure?
Oh,
You were in zoning a long time and the ordinance hasn't changed. I would think if they're living in it, right?
well, it has to be attached to the ground and.
It's got to have a
it is large
affidavit of
enough.
fixture, probably.
So anyway, those are things we got to think about, but the idea here is, with the example that we have on 31, do we want to have the ability to take action against a property that may be not respectable for what we want in the neighborhood? You know, if you had a fire in a home and the home sat there in a neighborhood, people aren't going to be very happy looking at that thing.
Did he say then that he bought this and it's still in trust, he doesn't have title?
He didn't explain, he just said that he was waiting for it to come out of the trust. So I didn't go any further than that.
Okay,
The idea was, hey, what are your plans at this point? And he gave us some idea, he gave us a history behind it and all that. But there was no timetable. So the idea here is for us to even begin to put any pressure on him. What we did, we sent him an email and said that the supervisor was going to bring forth to the board a dangerous building ordinance, in that we'd like some information about his property, and we got an email the next day. So he understands where we're going.
It seems like if there's a building that needs to be torn down and hasn't been, that it's probably a financial reason. And so by us demanding that they tear it down anyway, where do the funds come from, you know?
Well,
That's the only part that bothers me. I mean, I understand not wanting dangerous buildings that are collapsing or whatever, but
when you read through the back,
yeah.
it talks about the enforcement, and it talks about what we can do as far as fines. And I suspect, as long as it's a piece of property, you can put a lien on it.
Yeah.
In my view, that's how you get around that. You put a ticket on them, and then you put a lien for the collection of the ticket. But I'll let the attorneys decide.
This will be
what the right
interesting.
approach.
This will
Yep.
be an interesting one.
All right, moving on. Items for informational purposes only. Again, Virginia had the first couple. For the scanning, as an update, the zoning office, which is the ZBA, Planning Commission, and the zoning administrator's office, has been completely scanned into our cloud. And they will be starting the next area, which we think will be the assessor's records, that's going to be a huge chore. If anybody's been back there, you know what those cabinets look like now. So we're probably the clerk's office isn't done yet. The treasurer's office basically is done because it's in BSNA. So we probably have another year and a half, 2 years of this scanning project, but we'll just keep going through it.
Has it worked? Can you access?
Oh, yeah.
What you filed?
Yeah,
And is-
talk to Linda Woodward and she'll get you in.
Yeah, that's who I want. Is she here on a regular basis?
I think 2 days a week, but you can write her. She's got a
Okay,
township email and just ask her next time she's coming to let you know and you can
Yep.
come in and watch
I don't think she'll be here now until
after the first
after
year.
New Year's, but
okay.
All right, the second thing is that, as we mentioned in the minutes, we made an application to the DNR for a grant for work done at the Day Park. We submitted that for $145,000 for a number of improvements, and working with the Day Park Committee, we were looking at repairing the boat ramp, building another pavilion to provide additional shelter during the summer months. There's not a lot of shade out there in the area. Refreshing the stone in the parking lots and trying to make resurface those with gravel. Putting in a kayak launch, whether it's associated with the boat launch or we pick another area to do that. Because right now it's in the boat area and it's not the safest area, if you will. It would include fencing between the park and the boat launch area because we've got kids running back and forth. This year, if Bob, you can attest to this, we probably had 4 or 5 close calls with little kids running out and people backing up their boats. So if I don't get every one of them, the priority is that fence. And then we want to improve the access for handicapped visitors from the parking lot down to the beach. So we would put in basically a boardwalk of some sort or a trail or something that makes it easier for them to get there. So that, at this point, there's 2 more dates for applications. And so if we come up with any other items, we'll be allowed to put in a new application. Budget schedule.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
When I looked at this, my only concern was the mixing of any kind of watercraft with swimmers, whether it's a motorized or not. And Charlevoix had 2 bad accidents in their swimming area with non-motorized units that went in the swimming area and hit 2 kids in the head at 2 different incidents. One, they had to dive to get the kid out. He was out cold. So again, I look at where that is going to be, where those kayaks would be going in is right in the swimming area. I don't know if that's I don't believe it's a good mix. And the kayaks can have some weekends when they have their regattas, there's a lot of them. So I would question that in terms of where they're going to be going in.
Can I reply to that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, with it being a DNR, what we're hopeful is we've got that space between the current launch and where all the rocks are. And if you could clean that up, it would be easier because right now the kayaks are launching off the same ramp as the boat. So if we could break that into 2 sections, that would help alleviate the ramp traffic. The second one is possibly running down the south side of our property line so that people would carry their kayaks down there and then we would take 10 feet off of the swim area and move and tighten that up. The third possibility is adjacent to the wharf on the south side of the wharf. But that, again, that's where the tree is. And so we'd have to work the degree of that angle for that land to make it easier for them to launch off there. There's some rocks in that area as well. So we've got some options. The idea is that the way it's set up now, it's only a matter of time before we do have an accident.
So this is not pounded in stone necessarily?
This
Okay.
is just an application.
Gotcha, okay.
And in fact, Alan, one of the rate things, this is a smaller one. We wanted to increase the security, whether it's ropes or buoys, better buoy system or something, to keep boats from being able to get into the swim area because we've had those instances. So we'll see how much money. It's like anything else, in the DNR application, they said, by the way, we will be viewing, the diversity of your township or municipality, and I'm sure they're going to look at tax base and stuff like that to see who needs the money the most. We put the money in, let's hope we get it.
Okay.
Budget schedule. Last year, with the board's cooperation and patience with me, we got through it pretty quickly. I want to follow the same process. The schedule that I have laid out is tight. I recently sent an email to everybody in the township governing section to say, hey, here's the time frame that I need your budgets. I know that the ambulance and fire guys have already started theirs, so I'm comfortable they'll meet the January 11th. January 4th is the meeting in which we sit down and talk about the pay rates for the township and put together the recommendations for the elected officials. So that will take care on the 4th. The 11th is the ambulance and fire. On the 23rd, we'll do the general fund, liquor enforcement, and the Torch Bay Nature Preserve. And on January 30th, we would have our final review of the budget. I would pull it all together at that time. If there are any changes, then I would have some time to make them. As I say, the reason I'm pushing for that is because I'm going to be gone in February, and that's when I would be putting together the budget presentation. So I'm going to need all the time I can get. Any issues with that? All right, if not, then you can expect that will be the schedule. I probably will be out of the office the last 2 weeks of this month. We had to change the chart of accounts for the township. So all of my financial models are somewhat worthless right now. So I have engaged an expert in Excel, though I'm not going to pay her to do it, and have Rita start to rebuild these models for me. So last item is the South Station. I was down there when we were putting in the new security cameras, and it's not in the best shape. I was kind of disappointed in the shape that it's in. So I've asked Kevin to go through and come up with what can be done to enhance the facility, both for purposes of the training that they do and for the equipment that's down there, and for our guys to have a place where they can relax. They've got that back room, and I'd like to see that as a nice meeting room. So Kevin went through, you have his memorandum.
Mhm.
At this particular juncture, we don't have any cost estimates. I put in there some pictures for you guys to look at. And the idea here would be an improvement of that station, short of tearing it down and rebuilding it. I prefer not to do that. Structurally, Kevin seems to feel that the frame is fine. The concrete is holding up. We could resurface the concrete like we did out here with the asphalt. But on the inside, I mean, if you walk in there, it's just, personally, it just doesn't meet the standards that we ought to have for our firefighters. So I'm just giving you folks a heads up that when he comes in, there's going to be two layers to this. One is going to be the interior work, and the second will be the outside work, given that we're in the winter. The insulation there is spotty at best. And so we're burning through a lot of propane to keep that place heated. So I think the time is now, and it's the right time to do it. And we have plenty of funds in the general fund to take care of this work. So once we get some more details, we'll be back with the shopping list.
I believe the new roof was put on under George Parker. Now, this is shingles I'm talking about, not anything in the frame. I don't know if there was any boards replaced during that process. There might have been. But that would have been approaching 20 years now, I think, in terms of that roof and the shingles. I also want to note too that there is an insulation for pole barns that's special that we've put in ours, and it's very effective and retards the humidity and that kind of thing. You don't get all that soaking happening. Just that's something to look at. It's not typical, normal insulation like you would in a home. What would you do with regard to keeping the dampness out of there? Is there a way is there a constant dehumidifier kind of thing? Like you have,
Right now, we have two dehumidifiers running. We purchased them, I think, 2 years ago. So they're running right now to keep the dampness level down in the building.
so they're just like portable units type things? Okay.
But the
Okay.
key thing there, Alan, is there's very little insulation to speak of. It's metal wall, so it
Yeah.
holds the
Oh,
cold
yeah.
and the dampness.
And the
We-
furnace system's okay?
Yes, we'll be very active.
Okay.
But like I said, there again, this Dalton, we keep it down to a certain degree, and then when we show up for training or truck inspections, just turn it up to an adequate temperature, so there's nobody shivering, so.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank
All
you.
right. So that concludes the items I have on the agenda. Any further citizen comments? Jairus,
Yeah,
it might be dead. That's all right.
you can hear me.
Yeah,
I was hoping Sharon was gonna be here tonight, but, Antrim County, Leslie Myers has, been working on unclaimed remains and, asking townships if they would donate one plot to put unclaimed remains in. It seems like it's been going up lately. Last year, we had 2 unclaimed remains in Antrim County. Somebody dies, they get cremated, and nowhere to go with the remains. So if every township would donate one plot, we think that would last 50 years. And I was at Banks Township board meeting last night. They're going to donate a plot. They got to work through a few things because these unclaimed remains, you can put 8 of them in one plot, but different townships have different cemetery ordinances. And right now, Banks Township doesn't allow that many in one plot.
Nor do we.
So they're gonna change that because there's no reason not to for this particular purpose. But it just takes getting through a few hoops. So I'm not saying that Torch Lake has to do it, but what I would like to know is one way or another, so that we can kind of come up with a game plan going forward. How many townships are willing to do this and create a plan, especially with Leslie being gone. I'm just trying to kind of tie this up and not let it get dropped when you hire a new person. That sometimes happens.
let me talk to Sharon and Kathy, and if there's no objections, I'll throw it on the special meeting for,
I'm sure there'd be no problem.
yeah.
Are they always cremains? Are there ever full burials?
The ones that we have are all cremains, and I think that's from the last 5 years. So in the last 5 years, it's all been cremains. And there's been 2 other townships that are gonna do it, and they're gonna put 8 in one
Plot?
Yeah.
All
And I
right,
think Banks Township is gonna make a change so that they can put
Yeah, we only allow
8 of them in one.
2 in one plot.
And the other thing is they have to be identified because if the family ever wants them, we have to be able to give
Pull
them
them out.
back.
Do we supply that marker?
The county will.
Okay.
The only cost, the way I read the document, the only cost for the township will be whatever the plot is worth.
All right,
Thanks.
we'll get back to you on that. Any other citizen comment? Board comment? Jason, we'll start with you.
If any of you guys don't want your candy, I will take it. Because this stuff is good. Is that you? You made it?
No, wait, of course.
Whew, that's good.
Ooh.
Sure you never know I gave her credit.
All right, yeah. Phyllis will take care of that. Kathy?
Just that, hopefully everybody has a safe and happy holiday season. Be careful with the snow that's coming. I hope you don't have to travel in that. But yeah, I'll do the happy holidays thing, but Merry Christmas also. Okay.
Ellen?
Merry Christmas.
For me, we finished the work on the nature preserve. We put in the additional parking this past Thursday and Friday. And so all the capital work that we had identified 2 years ago is now completed. This marks the 24th board meeting for us as a board, and we're still all live. So I want to thank everybody for their help, their support, and all the different initiatives. We've done a lot in the first 2
You have
years.
indeed.
And I think, other than that, I wish everybody a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.